Hey, what's up, folks? This is Seraph, the philosophy guy. Welcome to yet another session of the Academy of Secular Thought. And in today's session, I wanted to talk about my experience with YouTube-based God debates. And personally, this is primarily because I feel to a large degree those debates have shaped my worldview and my stance on a lot of things. So, to start off, earlier towards the end of 2020, I've written a whole arbitrary or a whole book review on Christopher Hitchens' book called Mortality. It's on my blog. I'll put the link in my description. But I wrote that review in a way that it is more than just a review. It's also like some sort of, obituary. I don't know how to pronounce that word. But yeah, it's something like that. Because reading the book Mortality just helped me see how Christopher Hitchens died honestly, as well as somebody that really took what it is that he was saying seriously. Because initially the idea is that when you are such a hard-blown non-theist, trying to be euphemistic about my terms, because we don't want to use terms that are slightly inflammatory, considering the fact that this is Lusaka. Yeah. So when you're a hard-blown non-theist, usually the idea is that probably at death, because of the fear of what it is that comes after, will make you recant. That was the whole idea. People had even sent a whole story about Charles Darwin and having to recant it on his deathbed. You know what I mean? But really, that didn't happen. It's just a lie. And Dawkins too, and I don't know why I have Dawkins in my mouth. And Hitchens too didn't do that. It's like a certain level of dishonest to expect somebody to recant after having to live their whole life, giving out all these strong cases to suppose the opposite is actually what's more viable to uphold to. You know what I mean? It's very dishonest. That's why in one debate, when he was actually on a panel with some Jewish rabbis and Sam Harris on the other side, he said, imagine how stupid it would be if Sam Harris and I were walking into every Christian hospital and telling everybody who's about to die, is like, you know what? We know your life has come to an end, you're about to die, but here's your chance. Everything that you believe was all bullshit. So here's your chance to recant. Just take it back. It would feel so pathetic. And it cuts both ways. Now imagine it's you on the other side, approaching somebody who's a non-theist, and then you're telling them, look, half your life, you've built your life on lies. And now recant right now, because this is what's up. It just feels very dishonest. It feels like a very dishonest position to take. There's no way such a thing can possibly be of any logic. And people laughed it out because for the first time in their life, they got to see the dishonesty in trying to make people recant on their deathbed. There's just stuff like that don't logically add up. But anyway, let me tell you what I was about to tell you. So my experience with YouTube videos. One thing I can tell you for a fact, if you're new to these conversations, if you're new to conversations that border on the main topics involving the origin of life, the origin of the universe, the purpose, our primary purpose, the purpose of the universe, why we're here, and what best explains the biodiversity and all that stuff, what best explains the reason behind an expanding universe, I would suggest before you dive into reading books, invest most of your time into watching some YouTube-based God debates. And because those will help open up your mind. 90% of the time, a lot of people tend to think as though they're in the right headspace to have these conversations, but they're not. You are just not. Because you're in a bubble. You don't know how big the conversation is, and you don't know how big what is being discussed is. So in your head, life is straightforward. You know what I mean? You don't even know counter arguments to what your position is. You think your position is entirely perfect, But YouTube God debates help you see that actually the conversation at hand is bigger than just A, B, C, D. It's not as straightforward as we want it to be. You know what I mean? It's not just as straightforward as having to believe a 1 + 1 is equal to this and this. It's not really as straightforward as that. So they open up your mind and you start to realize, oh, snap, this debate is bigger than me. You know, there's actually more to it than I actually realized. So when you do that, you get into that headspace, you see and understand arguments from both sides, and then you start reading up on these people. You go beyond the panel, you go beyond the debates, you now get into their books. That's what makes it fun. I mean, what could make this whole living thing more thrilling than having these conversations that a lot of softballs cannot have? They're in no position to have them because, I mean, cowardice. But if you reach a position where you can have this conversation, you start reading these guys' books, it will open up your mind. You know, you will intellectually learn how to engage in conversation. You won't just be punching everything around and shoving unfounded statements all over the place, extraordinary claims, when you can't even chain them down to another extraordinary explanation. You're just airing out unfounded statements that cannot be really, you know, that cannot even really hold water or cannot stand in the face of intelligent conversation. So YouTube debates will do you justice. And I can recommend, since I've been doing this for quite some time, I enjoy this. This is my life. I could recommend you start with the best place to start. I mean, Hitch is always a good experience. Hitch is better. Hitchens is actually better. You're watching him in a debate as opposed to him giving a lecture or something. When you're new to this and you're watching Hitchens give a lecture, he comes across as very inflammatory and unpleasing to listen to, but he's better when he's in a debate. And the best parts of debates that I actually like is when two speakers are given the time to actually cross-examine each other. They can conversate with each other. That's actually better as opposed to giving a whole explanation of your stance and all that stuff. That's the part that's more interesting. So if you start from figures like Hitchens, you watch Hitchens, you watch Frank Turek, you watch Dinesh D'Souza, you watch Sam Harris, you watch Dan Dennett, you watch Richard Dawkins, you watch Matt Dilihanty, all these guys, like get into debates, Jordan Peterson, you watch these people, and then the minute you start listening to them, you will realize, wow, humanity and the human experience is not just as straightforward as we want it to be. Unfortunately, it just isn't. The conversation at hand is bigger than all of us. And you will realize that this whole living thing is pretty interesting. You know, like there's more to this. You realize that to a large degree, we are born for conversation and we need to have these conversations come what may. And this is a point that I actually brought out in okay, I don't know who switched on the aircon. Yeah, but this is a point I actually brought out in the song God Was. Okay, I'm just going to cancel my video right there because... yeah, but anyway, overall, watch some of these God debates. They open your mind to be in the right framework. And then when you watch a lot of these debates, you get submerged into them. Dive into reading their books. Start reading these people who are on this panel. Read their books. Get to hear the story. That will put you in a place where you can intelligently hold a conversation and contribute like a mature, grown person.